The Dallas Cowboys are about to make the same mistake again. And this time, it might cost them everything they've been building toward for the past 3 years. Right now, as you're watching this, Jerry Jones is sitting in his office at the Star in Frisco, staring at a decision that could define his legacy. He's done this before. He's been in this exact position, and every single time, he's made the wrong choice. But here's what makes this different. This isn't about one player. This isn't about one contract. This is about a pattern that's been destroying this franchise for decades, and it's happening again right in front of our eyes. Let me take you back to January 2024. The Cowboys just lost to the Green Bay Packers in the wild card round. Again, another home playoff loss, another season ending in disappointment. And in the locker room after that game, Dak Prescott is sitting there, thinking about his future. Micah Parsons is wondering if this team can actually win. CeeDee Lamb is questioning whether Dallas is serious about competing. But Jerry Jones, he's already moved on. He's already thinking about the next season, the next headline, the next opportunity to tell everyone that the Cowboys are America's team. Here's the problem. 3 of the most important players on this roster are staring at contract situations that could blow up in Dallas's face. Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and Micah Parsons. All 3 need new deals. All 3 deserve to be among the highest paid at their positions, and Jerry Jones is playing chicken with all of them. You know what's fascinating? This isn't new. Jerry has done this before, multiple times, and every single time, it's ended in disaster. Remember DeMarcus Ware, one of the greatest pass rushers in Cowboys history? Jerry waited too long, tried to restructure his deal instead of extending him properly, and Ware walked away in 2014. Where'd he go? Denver. What'd he do? Won a Super Bowl 2 years later. Remember DeMarco Murray? Led the entire NFL in rushing in 2014, carried the Cowboys to a playoff win. Jerry let him walk because he didn't want to pay running backs. Murray went to Philadelphia, and Dallas, they spent the next 3 years trying to replace him. Remember Byron Jones? Elite cornerback, one of the best coverage guys in the league. Jerry waited, didn't prioritize him, and he left for Miami in 2020. Cowboys secondary has been a mess ever since. The pattern is crystal clear. Jerry Jones waits too long, plays hardball, convinces himself he can find cheaper alternatives, and then watches his best players leave and succeed elsewhere, while Dallas scrambles to fill the holes. And now, he's doing it again. Let's start with CeeDee Lamb. In 2024, CeeDee is coming off back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. He's Dak's #1 target. He's one of the most dynamic receivers in the entire NFL, and his rookie contract is expiring. So what does Jerry do? He waits. All offseason, no extension. Training camp starts, still no extension. CeeDee holds out, misses practices, misses preseason games. The Cowboys are preparing for the season without their best receiver. And Jerry? He's giving interviews saying everything's fine, saying they'll get it done, saying there's no urgency. But here's what Jerry doesn't say. Here's what he never admits. Every single day that passes without a deal, CeeDee's price goes up because other receivers are signing massive contracts. Justin Jefferson gets $35 million a year. A.J. Brown gets $32 million. Amon-Ra St. Brown gets $30 million. And CeeDee Lamb is watching all of this, knowing he's just as good, knowing he deserves the same. Finally, in late August 2024, they get a deal done. 4 years, $136 million, $34 million per year, makes him one of the highest paid receivers in football. But here's the cost nobody talks about. CeeDee missed all of training camp, missed critical practice time with Dak, missed the chemistry building that happens in August. And when the season starts, you can see it. The timing is off. The connection isn't as sharp. It takes weeks for them to get back in rhythm. That's the hidden price of Jerry's negotiation strategy. It's not just about the money. It's about the preparation, the continuity, the trust. But at least CD got his deal, right? At least that's resolved. Now let's talk about Dak Prescott. Dak is entering the final year of his contract in 2024. He's been the Cowboys quarterback since 2016. He's led them to the playoffs 5 times. He's thrown for 4,000 yards in 4 straight seasons. And he's watching other quarterbacks get paid. Josh Allen gets $43 million a year. Lamar Jackson gets $52 million. Jalen Hurts gets $51 million. These are Dak's peers. These are the guys he's competing against. And Dak is sitting there knowing he's outplayed several of them in the regular season, watching them get generational wealth, while Jerry Jones tells the media that there's no urgency to extend him. Think about that for a second. Your starting quarterback, the face of your franchise, the guy who controls whether your season succeeds or fails, is playing on the last year of his contract. One injury away from free agency, one bad season away from questions about his future. And your owner is saying there's no urgency. Here's what Jerry is thinking. He's looking at Dak's playoff record. 3 wins, 5 losses. He's remembering the bad games, the interceptions against San Francisco, the loss to Green Bay at home, and he's convincing himself that maybe, just maybe, Dak isn't worth $55 million a year. But here's what Jerry is missing. Who's the alternative? Where are you going to find a quarterback who can do what Dak does? You think you're drafting a franchise quarterback in the middle of the first round? You think you're finding someone in free agency who's better? The Cowboys tried this before. After Troy Aikman retired in 2000, they spent a decade searching for a quarterback. Quincy Carter, Chad Hutchinson, Drew Bledsoe. Tony Romo wasn't a starter until 2006. That's 6 years of chaos, 6 years of mediocrity. And now, Jerry is flirting with doing it again. As of early 2025, Dak still doesn't have an extension. He's going into the 2025 season on the final year of his contract. And if you're Dak Prescott, what are you thinking? You're thinking about Lamar Jackson, who held out and got $52 million. You're thinking about Kirk Cousins, who bet on himself and cashed in. You're thinking about your leverage. And here's the nightmare scenario for Dallas. Dak plays out 2025, hits free agency, and multiple teams throw massive offers at him. The Giants need a quarterback. The Titans need a quarterback. The Raiders need a quarterback. Someone will pay him. And if Dak walks, the Cowboys are starting over, completely over, back to square one at the most important position in football. But wait, there's more, because Micah Parsons is watching all this. Micah Parsons might be the best defensive player the Cowboys have had since DeMarcus Ware. He's been first-team All-Pro in his first 3 seasons. He's racked up 40 sacks. He's the kind of generational talent that franchises build around. And his rookie contract ends after 2025. So Micah is watching CD hold out and get paid. He's watching Dak play hardball with Jerry. And he's learning. He's seeing how this franchise operates. He's seeing how Jerry negotiates. He's seeing that loyalty doesn't matter. Production doesn't matter. All that matters is leverage. And here's the terrifying part for Cowboys fans. Micah Parsons has more leverage than anyone. Because if Micah Parsons hits free agency, every single team in the NFL will bid for him. Every single one. The Giants will throw money at him. The Eagles will throw money at him. The Commanders will throw money at him just to keep him out of Dallas. Imagine Micah Parsons in midnight green terrorizing Dak Prescott twice a year. Imagine him in that Giants blue anchoring their defense for the next decade. That's the nightmare Jerry Jones is creating by waiting. And you know what the worst part is? Jerry has seen this movie before. He watched DeMarcus Ware leave and win a ring. He watched it. He experienced the consequences. But he's doing it again. Let's talk about why. Let's talk about what's really happening inside Jerry's head. Jerry Jones bought the Dallas Cowboys in 1989 for $140 million. Today, the team is worth $10 billion. $10 billion. He's turned the Cowboys into the most valuable sports franchise on earth. He's made himself billions of dollars. And that success has created a problem, Because Jerry doesn't just own the Cowboys, he runs them. He's the owner, the general manager, the final decision maker on every personnel move. And after 35 years of doing this, he's convinced himself that he knows better than everyone. He's convinced himself that players are replaceable, that he can always find the next guy, that paying top dollar for stars is how teams get into salary cap hell. But the reality is, the NFL salary cap keeps going up. Every single year it increases, and the teams that win aren't the ones who pinch pennies on their best players. They're the ones who identify their core, lock them up, and build around them. Look at Kansas City. They paid Patrick Mahomes. They paid Travis Kelce. They paid Chris Jones. And they've won 3 Super Bowls in 5 years. Look at Philadelphia.
Micah Parsons is a top 3 defensive player. You surround that core with solid players, make smart draft picks, and you can compete for championships. But instead of building on that foundation, Jerry is letting it crumble. He's playing games with contracts. He's creating distractions. He's risking everything because he won't admit that in today's NFL, you have to pay your stars. And the clock is ticking. The 2025 season is right around the corner. Dak doesn't have an extension. Micah's contract expires after this year. And Jerry is still out here giving press conferences, talking about how everything's under control, how they're going to get deals done, how there's a plan. But we've heard this before. We've heard Jerry say these exact words about DeMarcus Ware, about DeMarco Murray, about Byron Jones, and every time the plan falls apart. You know what's really interesting? The Cowboys fan base is split on this. Half of them are furious at Jerry, demanding he pay these guys before it's too late. The other half is defending him, saying Dak hasn't won in the playoffs, saying Micah disappears in big games, saying CD's not worth $34 million. But that debate misses the point entirely, because this isn't about whether these players are perfect. They're not. Dak has bad games. Micah has quiet games. CD drops passes sometimes. They're human. They have flaws. But they're also the best players the Cowboys have. They're the foundation. They're the core. And in the NFL, you don't let your core walk away. You don't create uncertainty. You don't risk losing generational talent because you want to save a few $1 million. Let me give you a different perspective. Think about this from the player's point of view. You're CeeDee Lamb. You dominated in college at Oklahoma. Dallas drafted you in the first round. You worked your way into becoming one of the best receivers in football. You put up incredible numbers. You show up every week. You do everything the team asks. And your owner makes you hold out to get paid, makes you miss training camp, makes you fight for what you're worth. How does that make you feel about the organization? How does that affect your trust in the front office? Now you're Dak Prescott. You were a 4th-round pick. Nobody expected you to be anything. You beat out everyone in training camp, won the starting job as a rookie, and never looked back. You've been the face of this franchise for almost a decade. You've taken every snap. You've dealt with every bit of pressure that comes with being the Cowboys' quarterback. And your owner tells the media there's no urgency to extend you? What message does that send? And now you're Micah Parsons. You were the 12th pick in 2021. You've been first-team All-Pro every year you've played. You're on track to be one of the greatest defensive players of your generation. You see teammates holding out to get paid. You see the franchise quarterback in limbo. What are you thinking about your future in Dallas? That's the real damage Jerry is doing. It's not just about the money. It's about the culture. It's about the message you send to your best players. And here's the thing that should terrify every Cowboys fan. Free agency exists now. Players have power. If you don't treat them right, if you don't pay them what they're worth, they can leave. They can go to teams that will appreciate them, that will pay them, that will build around them. The Cowboys had DeMarcus Ware. They didn't appreciate him enough. He left and won a Super Bowl. Are they about to do the same thing with Micah Parsons? Let's talk about what happens next. Let's game out the scenarios. Scenario 1. Jerry pays everybody. He extends Dak this offseason. He extends Micah before the 2025 season starts. The core is locked up. The team has stability. They can focus on winning instead of contract drama. This is the smart play. This is what successful franchises do. But it requires Jerry to admit he should have done this already. It requires him to accept that he has to pay market value. And based on 35 years of evidence, that's not how Jerry operates. Scenario 2, Jerry waits. Dak plays out 2025 without an extension. Micah plays out 2025 without an extension. The entire season is filled with questions about their futures. Every loss becomes a referendum on whether these guys are worth paying. Every bad game becomes ammunition for Jerry to justify his strategy. And then, after the season, they either pay them or watch them leave. If they leave, Dallas is starting over with both their quarterback and their best defensive player. Years of rebuilding, years of hoping to draft the next Dak and Micah. This is the risky play. This is Jerry playing hardball. And based on history, this is probably what happens. Scenario 3, Jerry trades one of them. Maybe he decides Dak isn't worth $55 million. Maybe he convinces himself they can find a cheaper quarterback and allocate that money elsewhere. So he trades Dak, gets some draft picks, and rolls with someone else at quarterback. Or maybe he decides Micah's price is too high. Maybe someone offers 3 first-round picks for him. Jerry takes the deal, convinces himself he's won the negotiation, and watches Micah dominate for another team. This is the chaos scenario. This is Jerry blowing up his own team because he can't help himself. Any of these scenarios is possible, but based on Jerry's track record, scenario 2 is the most likely. He'll wait, he'll play games, he'll create drama, and eventually something will break. Here's the part that really gets me. The Cowboys are so close, they really are. They have the talent, they have the coaching, they have one of the best rosters in the NFC. With a few breaks, with some smart moves, they could legitimately compete for a Super Bowl. But instead of making those smart moves, Jerry is creating problems. He's manufacturing crises. He's putting his ego ahead of the team's success. And Cowboys fans are stuck watching it happen again. You know who understands this? The other teams in the NFC East. The Eagles are watching this and smiling. The Giants are watching this and taking notes. The Commanders are watching this and hoping Dallas implodes. Because they know that if the Cowboys lose Dak or Micah, the division is wide open. They know that if Dallas has to start over at quarterback, they'll have years to capitalize. They know that Jerry Jones is the Cowboys' biggest weakness, and they're absolutely right. Let's zoom out for a second. Let's talk about Jerry's legacy. Jerry Jones will go down as one of the most influential owners in NFL history. He revolutionized how teams make money. He turned the Cowboys into a global brand. He's in the Hall of Fame. But here's his problem. He hasn't won a Super Bowl since 1995. 30 years, 3 decades without a championship. And the reason is simple. Jerry can't get out of his own way. He can't stop meddling. He can't admit when he's wrong. He can't build a front office that functions independently. Everything runs through him, and his decision-making is holding the franchise back. The Cowboys could have won multiple championships in the Romo era. They had the talent, but Jerry's decisions at key moments cost them. They could win a championship in the Dak era. They have the talent right now, but Jerry's decisions about these contracts might cost them again. And if that happens, if the Cowboys waste another generational core because Jerry played games with contracts, it will define his legacy. Not the business success, not the brand, the failure to win. Here's what makes this so frustrating for people who love football. The Cowboys matter. Whether you love them or hate them, they matter. They're America's team. They get the most attention. They drive the most conversation. And watching Jerry Jones sabotage his own franchise is painful because we all want to see the Cowboys at their best. We want to see Dak and Micah and CD competing for championships. We want to see them in big games that matter, but we can't because Jerry won't let it happen.
So, where does this leave us? Right back where we started. The Cowboys are about to make the same mistake again. They're playing contract games with their best players. They're creating uncertainty. They're risking everything because their owner can't help himself. Dak Prescott should already have an extension. He doesn't. Micah Parsons should already have an extension. He doesn't. And with every day that passes, the chances of keeping this core together get smaller. Maybe Jerry proves everyone wrong. Maybe he gets deals done. Maybe the Cowboys go on a run and win a championship. That would be incredible. That would be the perfect ending to this story. But based on 35 years of history, that's not what's going to happen. Jerry is going to wait too long, play too hard, and watch his best players either leave or waste their prime stuck in contract limbo. And the Cowboys will continue to be the most talented team that can't get out of its own way, the most valuable franchise that can't win when it matters, the team with everything except the one thing Jerry can't buy, a Super Bowl. The decision is coming, the clock is ticking, and Jerry Jones is about to show us one more time whether he's learned anything from the past 3 decades or whether he's doomed to repeat the same mistakes forever.